Late payers and bad debtors for any organisation can have huge implications on their business. Jonathan Gibson went to Glasgow to meet commercial debt recovery company Darcey Quigley Co to find out why they believe outsourcing is a worthwhile resource.
The difference between a thriving business and a struggling business can often be measured by cash collection and cash flow. But keeping on top of your unpaid debts can be time-consuming and costly.
Does you have stock at risk?
Yeah, there is stock at risk as well here.
So we need to action that now.
At the offices of Darcey Quigley in Glasgow, this team of commercial debt recovery specialists knows quick intervention can get you paid quicker and mitigate risk.
I realised that there was a huge gulf in the market in terms of commercial debt recovery being really professional. I think we are completely customer-centric and we understand the lead to sales process and we understand how hard it is to get a customer, to get paid and to retain that customer. And that's always the forefront of our mind when we start any recovery or we speak to any new client or existing client. They know that we have their best interest at heart, and I think that's very unique within a debt recovery environment.
When this manufacturing company was faced with a late payer, outsourcing the debt to Darcey Quigley meant the invoice was paid within 24 hours. This is the power of outsourcing.
The debtor was effectively waiting for the outsource to take place before settling the debt, and we facilitated that very, very quickly. The decision to outsource to a third party made the debtor realise, well, I've run out of time now. They were effectively waiting for that decision to be made, and that's what makes them a late payer. They're sitting with the money ready to pay, but they're waiting for the clients to decide to outsource, and then they make the payment.
But not every debt's as straightforward to recover. Bad debt, that's another scenario that you have to deal with quite often.
Yes, very often. We had a case quite recently in the construction industry. The client had waited 2 years before outsourcing it to ourselves because the client had lost their way with the debt. The debtor was struggling to make contact with the right person within that company to get paid, so they approached ourselves and we took the debt on and we vigorously investigated the debt to get to the right person, and within a 5-week period we had recovered that money in full for the client.
It's this type of forensic approach which helps recover debts that are highly disputed, in cases where the debtor believes they have reason for non-payment.
The client had what's called confirmation of verbal instructions. They were all signed by the site who they supplied the goods to. We had all of those from the client, there was dozens of them, and we presented those back to the debtor and said, we understand your paper trail wasn't followed, but our client did follow their paper trail, and I'm delighted to say we managed to get the debtor 85% settlement.
Outsourcing debt recovery to Darcey Quigley is an integral part of some clients' credit management processes. Caroline Curry works for a large corporation with multiple company ledgers.
For me, the outsourcing is an extension of what we do. We've done everything we can, and it means that if you outsource it at that point, once you get to there, then the next month when you start the process again, you're starting clean. Anything that's not been paid, you know it's gone. You're working on a clean ledger.
But running a professional credit department is also about mitigating risks.
Prevention's better than cure, so you're looking at your processes. First of all is your credit application process, know your customer, make sure the form's completed in its entirety. We've done credit checks, we've taken up trade references, depending on what the legal trading status of the business is, if it's a sole trader, limited company, whatever, if you take personal guarantees, all these things. You following that process robustly, I think, is absolutely important.
After more than a decade in the debt recovery business, Darcey Quigley's understanding of the debt cycle stops them spiralling out of control by delivering quick and effective solutions which protect the relationship between client and debtor while making sure the client gets paid.
They don't want to walk away from the business, but they need to resolve the issue they have at hand, and that's where we can assist. We can go in, third party, speak to the department and resolve the issues and get them into a nice natural payment rhythm with the client, and we do that in lots of cases.